Hey guys, this is Dave from Living the Next Chapter. Jumping on at the beginning of the show, normally we'd have music here, right? I want to let you know today's episode is adult themed in that we're going to be talking about adult content. There is nothing in this episode that is explicit, but I wanted to give you a heads up. If you're listening to this in your car, with your family, maybe this is an episode to listen to later. So my guest today is a brave guest coming on to share her journey. And what I love about podcasting is it gives a voice to people who, A, might feel afraid to share their voice, and B, might not have the opportunities to get out there and share a message that encourages people. My guest has a heart for people. And by having her on the podcast today, I'm really proud of this episode. My guest also shares with us something very personal in the sense that her first book focused on her struggle and coping with a stutter. So as you're listening to the podcast episode today, I hope that you can kind of tune into how we kind of talk about her stutter here in the podcast and how, as a host, I'm here to encourage her. And her story is powerful. And again, this is not a show for kids in the sense of the content. But again, it's not explicit to the point where I felt it warranted an explicit rating on this podcast episode. Again, I want to give you the heads up at the beginning. I feel it's fair to you. And I feel like it's my responsibility as a host of Living the Next Chapter to let you know what this podcast contains so that you can make the choice for yourself. But again, as a host of the show, I'm really proud to have my guests here on the podcast. Thanks for joining us. Hope you can stick around. Here we go.
You mean like the whole book? No. Okay, so I wrote this book. I started writing it a long time ago, and I think it was just a healing process for me. Just to heal myself from that job, and it just came to me. So I just wrote like, I don't know, 60, 50 pages in one day, and that was it. I was done with it, and so I just put it into my desk, just like what I do with my writings, and then it was just sitting there until like 3 years ago or like 4 years ago, and then I know, and then I kind of came across this piece, and I read it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually good, and I actually kind of understood what it was about, because when I was writing it, it was just an impulse, and I didn't even know what I was writing. So like now it actually made sense, and I saw that like what I was doing was basically processing all this, and like transforming into somebody else, so then I kind of like edited it, and and I changed many parts, and there are definitely parts that I still feel like, maybe I should not put this in there. But listen, it is there. So so like now I feel completely naked. It's like now I'm naked.
Okay, everyone, welcome to the podcast. I have another great guest with me today. Nellah and Max is with me, and we're going to be talking about her book. We're going to be talking about all this great stuff that she's putting out into the world, and really excited to have my guest on with us today. Nellah, nice to meet you. Nice to have you here. Welcome to Living the Next Chapter.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for having me and giving me this opportunity. It's great to be here.
Excellent. So now, people are going to hear your voice and go, "Wow, what a beautiful accent." Now,
Oh no.
tell me where you're originally from. No, this is nice.
That's one thing that I don't like, everyone right away, oh, there is an accent.
Oh no, it
Oh,
sounds
well,
great.
I'm from Slovakia, Czechoslovakia, and yeah, I've been in the United States for, I think, 20 years.
Okay.
Yep.
I love that you still have your accent. It's beautiful, by the way, just so you know.
Okay,
It
thank
is.
you.
It is beautiful. And that's one thing I love is hearing voices from around the world. I'm glad you're here in the US, but it's nice to connect that as well. It's great.
Thank you.
Awesome. So you are an author. Wow.
Yes,
I'm not
yes,
an
I
author, so
am.
I'm already impressed. All right. No, this is great. When did you start writing, Noah?
Okay, writing, well, I started writing a long time ago, maybe like 15 years ago.
Okay.
But I basically, I never intended to like publish anything or like come out with anything. I was just writing for myself, because that's something that just comes to me and I love to do. So yeah, so like, I was just writing anything, stories, poems, anything that came to me.
Nice.
Yeah, and now, finally my my books are coming out, or like one of them is out. So it's great. It's actually completely different to like publish something and just to write for yourself.
Yeah. So take me to the day where you had your first book, published book in your hands for the very first time. How did that make you feel?
Okay, that was not long time ago, actually.
Good.
As I am a co-author on a book that is called Uncovering the Brave Within, and it's just the whole process was just incredible. I I never thought that launching a book would be so amazing. I felt like I was launching a rocket, to the
Mhm.
space. Yes, so like it was a really like countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. And it
Yeah.
was just amazing. Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Isn't that is I love hearing that story from authors because it's that moment where it's in your hands and you're like, I can hold this and it's real. Like before this, it didn't seem as real, but now I have it in my hands. This is a real thing. I actually did it. I'm an author.
Yes, yes, and I think it's so powerful, because I still have all these writings in my desk, but just like the fact that is out and like people can read it, it's just so powerful, you know.
Yeah.
And it's on Amazon, and I can just look for it on
Yeah.
Amazon and say, "Oh my gosh, this is my book!"
What a good
So
feeling.
yeah, it is. It is great feeling. Yes.
Okay, so tell me about that book in particular. How many authors were a part of that book?
So in uncovering the brave within, we are 18 female authors who were willing to share very vulnerable personal stories. So when I met the publisher, and I just said yes, and immediately I just said yes, and then I was just thinking like, what did I do? What am I even gonna write about? I had no idea what I was going to write. And then just the title of the book inspired me, and I started thinking, what is really the like bravest thing that I've done in my life. And and I thought it's really to like live with my speech impediment. I stutter, so I shared a story about stuttering and what like people who have some kind of speech disability have to deal with every day. So I think it's pretty good, and I like fun. So it's also a little bit of a funny story.
So I love that you put yourself out there to do this. And I just want to acknowledge too, having you here on the podcast. I love your voice. I love you as a person. You're bringing this so much joy to the podcast. And
thank you.
I just want you to know that it's great to have you here. So for somebody who's listening to us today and they struggle with stuttering and putting themselves out there because they may be afraid that they might be judged or somebody might think something of them because they stutter. Do you have any advice to somebody who's shy about speaking out and sharing their amazing story because they're afraid that somebody might judge them?
If you have a story that is important to you and you feel like it can be important for anybody else, just do it, because you would be surprised how many people would actually support you. Yeah. And like this might not be people who people, your friends or your family many times don't support you, but you might find completely different crowd who would just be amazed with you and who would support you with this. Yeah.
And get that community around you that supports and loves you, and right?
Yes, and just get it out. Just get it out. That's all. And if it is important for you, just do it. Nobody else matters but you.
Right. I love that. No. Okay, so that was the first book. So in that book, then you're focused in on your on battling through and finding your voice and all that. So how was the response to the book? Did you feel that people read your chapter and your portion of the book and were encouraged by what you had written?
Yeah, so I must say this is still like a little bit new book. It just launched 2 weeks ago. But I definitely do. Yeah, yes, I do. And like there are many people who relate, many people who tell me, oh, we understand what you are going through and what it is, and thank you. So yes, definitely.
Beautiful.
Yes, and I must say that like all the authors in this book have just great stories, So like I was even like intimidated by them, I was like, oh my gosh, everybody is writing such a great story, Yeah, but I think what it is really with this book, that it is variety. They're like everybody brings in something different, So, and I think that's just so important. And that's great about it.
Have you had a chance to speak to any of the other authors at all, or meet them online or by email or anything?
Yeah. So when I said yes to this, I didn't know what like this was going to be. So then it was like group chats, group meeting, everything is online because we live in like different corners, but I felt like I met friends, I made so many like connections,
Nice.
and I met wonderful people, so it was an amazing experience also because of this, because of who I met.
So if somebody's listening, Nellah, and they're a new author and they're trying to figure out where to start, do you recommend being a co-author on a book? Does that make it a little bit easier to write your first book?
Okay, I think it depends on a person.
Okay.
Because well, for me it really wasn't because I was on the way to like publish my own book.
Okay.
So to be honest with you, I wrote this story in like 3 hours, and it was like, okay, fine,
Wow.
it's good. Yeah, but like that's the thing. I would recommend it for people who are not very much confident with like their writing, but who have great story. So like they help them to go through all these steps of like writing and blocks, and so on. So I would definitely recommend it to someone like that. But if you are a writer, if it comes to you by itself, if you know what you are doing, then I don't know if it makes sense.
That's good advice. I like that. So that book is just new out. You're mentioning another book that's in the works. Can you give us some background on what you're writing?
Actually, now I am thinking so my book basically launches on March 16th.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
So hold on. So I think it's gonna be after
Yeah.
this interview, or
Well, it'll be close to when the podcast
no.
comes out. Yeah. So
yeah,
this is exciting. So the book will probably be out by the time this comes out. So let's talk about this. Let's share everybody
yes
about the book.
So this is my solo book, and well, this is like a really sensitive topic for me, because this book is from a little bit like darker times of my life, and that was when I was in the entertainment industry, and I was a dancer in gentlemen's clubs, if you want to call it like that.
Yeah.
So it kind of shows how the entertainment industry works, and how it is a system of oppression of women and also men, and system of degradation, and it also focuses very much on transformation, basically how I got out of it.
Wow.
How a person can get out and change what has to be changed, especially thinking, behaviors, then trauma processing. So all this is in this book.
Okay. So what's the name of this book?
Yeah. Okay. So the name is A Stripper from Japan through Switzerland into the deepest secrets of her soul.
Wow. Okay. And this one's going to be
a little bit long.
Yeah, no.
But it's okay. It's okay. I just had to squeeze everything in.
Yeah. Okay. So the title right there tells us of the journey as far as the different countries and everything.
Yes,
right?
yes. That's the thing too. That basically, I was working in Europe and in Japan, so it's a story from kind of like different countries and all around. Well, not like all around the world, but like there are I think 4 countries involved.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is. So it is also kind of like cultural experience, I would say.
So who would this book be for? No, if you could identify a person or whatever that this book would help, do you have somebody in mind when you were writing this book?
Okay. First of all, it's not for children.
Okay.
We all know that. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, when I was writing it, I thought about the young girls, you know, who like many times are at high risk to go into these jobs, or like to be somehow manipulated, set up, or lured into this line of work, and like nobody really tells them what it involves, you know, just like nobody told me, you
Right.
know. So that young women are definitely a group that should read this book, you know. But I have friends who read the book, and like one of my friends told me every woman should read this book because
Mm.
because it just shows how you deal with men, you know, and
Yeah.
like dealings and like different relationships with men, you know. So it's also interesting from like that point of view. And you know what, I think it's actually very much for men too, and I don't want to exclude men, and I think men would actually enjoy it a lot, because I've been working with men for like many years, and I think I speak very much men's language, you know. So like they will understand it very well, I think. Yeah.
So you were saying that this is one of the darker times in your story for you personally. Um, what were some, maybe a moment where you felt really scared or fearful when you were living in this, where you kind of decided or felt that it was time to make a change?
Okay. So, like, first of all, I want to say that the book is not only dark. It's not like that darkness from the beginning till the end. Okay.
Okay, good.
It's like more like from the from that darkness to light. There is fun, you know, and so on. But like, for me, it was simply, well, as I said, I went into it, and like nobody really like told me what I would be doing, you know. And then like I had to do um live dances, private dances. I had to drink, you know, alcohol, drugs. It's basically mandatory in the clubs. So all of this together, you know, kind of really like put me down mentally, emotionally, physically, you know. And I got to the point when I really couldn't just like do it anymore. It was the whole like superficiality. I can say that word.
Yeah, that's good.
Superficial. No, I can say
Yeah.
it. Okay. You know what I mean, right?
I got you.
Yeah. And all this, like, always like walking in the club, looking for men to like, get me drinks or dance and like making money. And it was just like I just felt like everyone would just like focus on my body, and like that's how it was, right? That's how it is there, you know. And I just couldn't do that like doll anymore. I just couldn't just smile and entertain men all the time, you know. And then also like control. How do you even like control what do you do and what they can do if you are constantly drunk?
Right.
You know, it's almost impossible to do, you know. And then I was set up to like go out with men, you know, and go to like private parties and so on. Yeah. So I think about like the I would call it a last drop. Really, what happened was I was given a laced drugs, and I found myself basically lying on the floor, and I couldn't get up, and I couldn't simply control myself. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything, and then when I came to myself, I knew that I had to get out.
That's scary. That's scary.
That scared out of me, honestly,
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that, I just simply decided that's it. And I just couldn't do it to myself anymore.
Right. Yeah. That's a moment, right? That had you continued on that path, we might not be speaking today, right?
Yes, that like then it's like, how do you even get out?
Right.
You don't know anything else. What you gonna do now? You know, that's how you make money. That's your money. So like, what now? Yeah. So my book goes into these issues, and and shows that it is really possible.
So okay, now let's take us to the brighter side of your story. Mm-hmm. What is your hope as people read then? What are you hoping that they get from your story as a help for those that might be in the industry that are looking to escape? How is your book going to help them?
So I think that really, this is not somehow unusual story. This is really something that like hundreds of people go through, and I want this to be taken like that. That like hundreds and hundreds people go through this every day. So why like nobody speaks, right? Why like women or even men don't come out and like talk about it? Because there is always shame and blame. People always judge you, and especially women who are in this industry are always judged, and like they feel isolated, that like they can't talk about this with anybody. So I think it's important just to say that there is help for you. You can go and ask for help, even though you might have done it voluntarily. It doesn't matter. So like that's one thing. Second thing is I also found out that like many family members, sisters, brothers, fathers, mothers, they have a relative who is in this line of job, and they don't know what to do.
Right.
Especially men, they don't know what to do at all, and like what's going on. So it brings some light into this industry, and explains how can somebody get in really, really easily. There is nothing wrong with them. There is nothing wrong with the family most of the time. Yeah. So yes. Then the last thing is basically the whole system. I am just questioning, how does this still exist? Why do we even have strip clubs? Tell me that, because like how does this contribute to the society?
Good question.
It even I think confuses men too. So why like would you have a system that like basically like, oppresses women and also men, that like treats them as some kind of commodity,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and basically that's how it works, you know, or like I don't know. Yeah, so I honestly feel that it is also set up for men to spend money there. You know,
Right.
it's just big money.
Right.
You know, so I'm just like, don't give it to them. Invest into something better. And
Right.
I'm not talking about the girls. And of course, they need to make money. But like to be like honest with you, most of the time, a club makes much more than they do.
Mm-hmm.
And like nobody really cares how much she makes. You
Right.
know, that's the last thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is a big business. Yep. And I understand that, but like why do we need this?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And that's what your book addresses then, and you kind of talk about that a little bit in your book as well, then, right?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. About women rights, human rights, because I've seen girls being caught, raped, and it's just horrible, you know. And everyone, it's just like that's how it is. No. It's not how it is. We make it. You know, we make this world. Yeah, and it's just really like power of money, you
Mm.
know, that the man can come and like put the money down and choose any girl he wants. And I can't even like imagine this as a woman that I come to some place
Right.
where is like 100 half naked young men standing there, and like now I'm gonna be choosing like, oh, I want this one because he has a good biceps, or
Yeah.
like I want this one because yeah,
Right.
you know, he has a nice smile, you know. It's just wrong, you know. It's wrong.
Right. We're all humans here, right? Like,
Yeah,
where's the
right, you would
respect?
think so.
Where's
You
the
would think so.
respect, right?
Yeah.
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 So from your perspective, what is the answer to your question that you're asking us? You know,
Which question now?
why are we treating people this way, and why does this exist? What do you think the answer is?
See, interesting. Yeah, why does this exist? And I think it's the power of money, because many like people think that like if they have money they can do anything,
Mm-hmm.
and you know many times they can, you know. But I think we really should move from this because I see this more and more often, because I do also spiritual coaching, you know, and I see uh, uh, people who have money kind of like looking for something more, you know, something spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I hope this will change, you know. But again, it's like it's a huge business. It's a huge
Yeah.
business, and I don't know if yeah, there is some like change possible, unless people who are on the top positions can do want to do something, and apparently they don't want.
Yeah.
So that's how it is.
It's amazing what the power of money can do to make things better and make things really, really bad. It has
Yes,
the power to do both, right?
yes, definitely. Yes. So like, let's do the good thing now, you know.
Right. Yeah.
let's make the world a better place for our future generations, and you know, for young people.
So was there any part of writing this book where you felt nervous that you maybe shouldn't include a portion of this story, or how are people going to respond to me sharing this story? Was there any part of that for you where you're like, I don't know what to include or
You
that?
mean like the whole book?
Yeah, the whole book is like that, right? Yeah. Okay.
Uh, no. Okay, so I wrote this book. I started writing it a long time ago, and I think it was just a healing process for me. Just to heal myself from like that job,
Mhm.
and it just came to me. you know. So I just wrote like I don't know 60, 50 pages in one day, and that was it. I was done with it, and yeah, so I just put it into my desk, just like what I do with my writings, and then yeah, it was just sitting there until like 3 years ago or like 4 years ago, and
Wow.
then like yeah, I know, and then I kind of came across this piece, and I read it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually good, and I actually kind of understood what it was about, because when I was writing it, it was just an impulse, and I didn't even know what I was writing. So, like now it actually made sense, and I saw that like what I was doing was basically processing all this, uh, and like transforming into somebody else. And yeah, so then I kind of like edited it, and yeah, and I changed many parts. Yeah, and there are definitely parts that I still feel like, maybe I should not put this in there.
Mhm.
But listen, it is there.
It's there, it's done,
So
it's printed,
yeah.
you
So
can't
like
change
now
it.
I
Yeah.
feel completely naked. It's like now I am naked.
Yeah, you have not. Yes, there you go. Wow. Okay, so when does the book come out again?
Yeah, so it's
March
March
16th?
16th.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
16th.
And it's going to be available where?
So it's on Amazon.
Okay. Excellent. And
So
yeah.
you can always put it in,
Yeah.
into Amazon, my name of the book, and it's gonna come out, and get it.
And leave a review. That's another good thing to do.
Yes, oh
That
yes,
always
definitely.
helps,
But
right?
hey, 5 stars,
5 stars
five
only.
stars, 5 stars only. I don't take anything less than that.
All the other stars don't work. Only five. Only five.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah. Because that really does help authors when you leave a review. It helps other people who come to that page and look at the book and go, will this book help me, or what will I learn? Please leave a review for all the authors. It's great. I really appreciate that for all the listeners. So again, for anybody that's listening now, like what would you do to encourage somebody who has an amazing story that can help somebody? They're a little nervous about sharing their story. Maybe it's personal or it's a hard story to tell. What would you say to them about starting a book and writing their book to encourage them to share their story like you've done?
Yeah, if you really wanna write it, just like write it for yourself. Don't think about who's gonna read it, or like oh my gosh, I'm gonna be judged. No, just write what you feel, write how it comes to you, because you can always decide after that, are you gonna come out with it or not.
Yeah.
you know and sometimes you are not ready to come out with it. I wasn't well, I thought I was ready, and then when I was asked to talk about my like personal stuff, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I want to do this,
Mm.
So you go through these questions, and you can always pull back.
Yeah.
Always, from like any stage, you can just say, okay, I can't do it, and then maybe like in 1 year or in two years, something changes, and you will actually do it, so I would say don't rush. If you really wanna write something, write it, and then you will just decide if you wanna publish it or not, or like what you're gonna do with it.
Nice. So writing this book now, how did this book help you as you finished the book and finished writing this? How were you changed or impacted by doing this?
I'm actually impacted a lot. And especially because I didn't expect any support, and so once I decided to like publish it, suddenly, and I've been like talking about it, of course, and like suddenly people come to me, and they tell me their stories, their how, for example, their cousin is in this business, how like they were in this business when like they were young, or like something happened to them, and I can't believe this. Almost every day somebody comes to me and tells me some story like mine, and when I ask them, would you be willing to come out with it? The answer is no. And I understand it.
Yeah.
I completely understand it, but I also understand how it is important for them just to like get it off their chest. And imagine you have something in you that's been hidden there for like years sometimes, and you couldn't tell to anyone. So I feel like it really, really helps people.
That's good. I'm so happy that you can share your story and help people with this, because it's going to help people, right? It's going to help people start the conversation. Maybe they're nervous to talk about this, but when they pick up the book and they read your words, they're like, I would love to speak to you, and or I have a family member that I'd love to help, and I want them to have this book, or it's going to open doors to communicate and for people to share their story and find some safety. You're creating a safe space for people, which is what I like.
Yes. Oh, yes, definitely. And I like to do that, because I'm a psychologist now, and I'm a coach. So you can just tell me anything. And yeah, I think I've heard a lot in my practice. Yeah. So I'm good,
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna judge you, and I'm not gonna say that's your mistake. That's what you did to yourself. No, I'm not gonna say those things. You can just openly talk to me. And,
okay. Yeah. See, so you mentioned your coaching. Again, we're going to have links in the show notes for the book, so people can go buy both of the books. You have two. They can buy both. But as far as the coaching side of this, how do people connect with you so that they can talk about coaching? They can speak to you about the book, or maybe have you as a guest on their podcast. How is the best way for people to reach out to you and interact with you?
Yeah. So I became from like no social media person into to like a maniac, of social media. so like now I am kind of everywhere. So it's definitely Facebook, message me, DM me, Instagram. I do that too, but not that much, to be honest with you. I have my website. I believe you will have it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just put in my name, Nellah MX, NELLAH MX, in Facebook or Instagram, and
Okay.
it should come out. Yeah.
Good. Beautiful. And we'll make sure we have links to that in the show notes for everyone. Yeah, so happy to have you on the podcast to talk about your book. And I hope it's the beginning of many, many more books and helping many, many more people, because
Yes.
the power of our story can help so many people. So I really appreciate you coming on, and to come onto a podcast and to be vulnerable and answer questions and talk about your life. This is hard to do. I want to thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for doing this. And you're a superstar. I really appreciate you spending time with me today and sharing your story. Because I think it's going to help a lot of people.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, and for calling me a superstar.
There you go.
Yeah, that feels good.
That feel
feels
good?
great.
That
yeah,
feels good.
definitely.
That's what I love to hear. I love to hear your laugh. And again, thank you for being so open and honest with us and sharing your story. It's great.
Thank you.
It's great having you here.
Thank you.
Awesome. Jumping here at the very end, I want to thank you for coming. We have listeners around the world, and I got to tell you, as a podcaster, it is so great to hear back from the people who listen to the show. Now, you are still here. The podcast's over. It's like we're sweeping up and putting the chairs away. You're still here. So, hi. I would love to talk to you. No, I really, really would. I would love to hear your voice. I would love to hear from you through email. You can do all that at livingthenextchapter.com. I say it fast because I love it. Living the Next Chapter. It's the name of the podcast. .com. How's that for easy? Right? Right. So come on over there and let's have a conversation. You can set up time in my calendar. You can, air quote here, book time in my calendar, book next chapter. Let's have a conversation. Thanks for being here. See you on the next one. Cheers.
Mindshift Power Podcast, the podcast for teenagers and those who work with them. There's a huge problem in America today. There's a very large disconnect between teenagers and the adults who work with them. I'm looking to bridge that gap with real, raw, honest conversation, not held back by the chains of political correctness. You cannot solve a problem you do not understand. Want to understand teenagers today? Listen to this podcast. This podcast is for teens in the U.S. and Canada. To learn more, go to fatimabay.com/podcast or just look for Mindshift Power Podcast on any listening platform. I look forward to you being a faithful listener.